that
huge
has
for
everything.
Bread. He has to win this in order to
Purple
still stay
strike, yeah.
alive.
Oh God, yeah, it's chat. He loses his.
Oh my God, Bread
bro,
is disgusting. He has not lost a Gulag.
Yo, what is up, Bakery? In today's video, we're talking the Urzikstan Gulag. This Gulag is unique as it can be different every time. However, the way you approach your fight should stay the same. You want to have a rhyme to your reason. Step in, outmaneuver, and outsmart your opponent simply because the sheer amount of times you've done it more than them. The point of this video is to show you that you don't need to go crazy every single Gulag, do a different thing every time, have 20 different strats to get the wins. You could do the same thing in every Gulag, and I promise you this will guarantee increase your win rate compared to what you're doing now. You don't have to go all crazy over the top. As you can see, if I can kill someone at my skill level using these tactics, you can as well. Let's get into it. Every single clip that you see will be from a $2,000 Trios Customs tournament that I played the other day. Basically meaning we were in custom lobbies. Everyone in these lobbies were absolute demons. Bubble CT specifically that I'm playing against right now had a 5KD in Verdansk, Caldera, Al-Mazrah, and now an absolute demon. So if this works against people of my skill level, it will work against people of your skill level, I promise. And so what we're gonna really beat into you guys that the left side is the best side. If you always go left, it's a much easier to watch your right side than it is to watch your left side. And so we'll get into that now. Basically, if you get the Gulag that looks like this, you'll have that heady on your left side, the cover in the middle, and the water on the far right side. You also have the heady on the right side, but there's something about playing the left side that feels more intuitive for players, especially on mouse and keyboard or on controller, doesn't matter what you're playing, that feels a little bit nicer. So we're gonna go straight to the heady right off rip here, and we'll see what we do from there. So we're starting now. Right to the heady, and boom, I'm already at the heady, and this you could kind of see that the sides are completely symmetrical, except for one side has this little box cover here, and one side has the water on the far right. Other than that, on this Gulag specifically, they are completely symmetrical. So you can see he's not on the other side. Most likely people either go straight there off a rip, or they don't go there at all, and so he's not there. So I need to think about, hey, he's not challenging me right now, which keep in mind, if they do challenge you, you take that fear 50-50, and if you lose that, you know what you need to work on. If you win that, obviously, boom, you're good to go. You've won that fear 50-50, and it's better than, you know, kind of crouching, sitting in a corner and waiting for someone to push you, as opposed to just taking that fear gunfight. If you lose a gunfight, you know what happened. It's much better that way, I promise. And so what you really need to do when you get here, if they don't peek you on that lane, is use your headset, use your audio. You'll hear someone sliding around, you hear someone moving, and if you don't, you know most likely that if they're not on your side, they're on the other side doing the exact same thing, and there's a little bit of an off angle that you could peek to do that. I'll show you in the next clip that off angle to peek that lane. So in this one, he's not peeking. I'll go ahead and play the clip now. He's not peeking. And boom. Right there, I've just heard 2 footsteps and a slide. If you don't know what the slide noise sounds like in this game, you really need to memorize that, because with the audio being as bad as it is, the slide sound is the only thing that comes forward in the audio. So really remember what that slide sound sounds like, because when you hear that, you know, hey, they're sliding around. They could be a demon. They could be cracked. And keep in mind, if this is working for me, I promise it'll work for you, regardless of the skills level that you're on. So I hear him sliding around, and I do want to say, don't feel bad to play a little bit slower in the Gulag. There's only one way out. You either kill the person, well, I guess there's 2 ways out. You kill the people, or you go up the zip line, and regardless, you're gonna win, you know? And when you come back, your teammates are gonna be like, what, did you rat for the kill or something like that? No one's saying that. If you come out, obviously you won, and that's all that matters. You're there for your team, you're back already, they don't have to buy you back. Who cares how you won it, you know? And so I'm sitting on the back here, playing this heady, nice and chill. You don't have to go all crazy sliding on the Gulag, and I've just heard him on that far right side, so I'm looking over that way now, and here in just a second, he's gonna throw a Molotov, which will give up a lot about the position that he's in and what he's gonna do next. Sliding on around a little bit more, and boom, he throws that Molotov. And this has happened all, you know, with every Gulag video I talk about this. When somebody throws a lethal or a tactical, they're not gonna push through that lethal or tactical. When somebody throws a Molotov, they're going the other way. So if I throw a Molotov this way, I'm going this way. So as soon as somebody throws something, don't look at that something. Look the other way, because they're not gonna push through that something. If they do, I promise you, I'll drive to your house and kiss you on the lips. Like, it's not gonna happen, and if it does, that's very rare. And maybe, hey, maybe you should throw that in the mix, because you know people aren't gonna do this, and they also know people are gonna do this. So as soon as somebody throws a Molotov specifically on the ground, they're not pushing through it. Look a different direction, and you can see as soon as he throws that Molotov, boom, I'm looking towards the left. I'm not worrying about him on the right side, because that's not where he's at. So I'm looking on the left, and I open up my tactical, which happens to be a shock stick, and I'm gonna throw that, boom. throw that. He doesn't end up being there in the Molotov as well. We're getting into this real quick as well. You see the zip comes down, so that means we have to make a play for something. And what I'm going to do is use this ramp right in front of me here as a heady. The ramp is very, very, very important, and you'll see why now. So I lay down on the ground, and I'm going to make a heady that isn't really standardized. This isn't something people normally use as cover, but we're going to make it cover, and it's going to be cover in every single one of your gameplays that you can make it cover, because it is great. So we're laying down, excuse me. I see him from afar, and I get an easy triple headshot on him, which ends up making him one shot, which essentially wins me the whole gulag, and I didn't have to do anything. I mean, watch. Boom, he's almost broken. Hear him in the water, right side, boom, and he's dead. Because as soon as that flag drops down, that zip line drops down rather, whoever gets that first hit or that first break is in the advantage, because they know, hey, the gulag overtime is going to start if no one goes up this zip line. So someone needs to make a play, and it ends up him having to make the play because of how patient I was. So let's go ahead and get to another clip and see what could what could your opponent do differently? What could I do differently to win the gulag in these different instances? Because what worked for me here won't work for me next time. However, we can always know and go on that left side, stay consistent, and stay super, 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 just strong. So we're on the second clip now, and let's see what happens if you move over to that left side crate. You're playing that heady, but you don't have any audio cues or anything to play off of. So let's go ahead and start this now. So we run into that same heady that we knifed to play off of. Doing that now. We're listening. Not a single audio cue coming through. And as soon as that flag timer countdown starts counting down, you can see at the top middle, we have a clock on the screen. As soon as that clock starts ticking down, you had those audio cues like, hey, someone's got to make a move or you're both going to lose this gulag. That's when you need to say, okay, let me see what I could do to see if I could pinpoint where my enemy is. And it just so happens that in this clip, they're going to be right across from me playing the exact same heady, but on the mirrored side. So I hear that thing. And boom, I've peaked the angle. So on these specific gulags, you could peek all the way down the lane. You could see at the far side, way back there, that is my enemy doing the exact same thing as me. They're on the box. They're like, hey, let me see if I can see them down this lane. And boom, we've just peeked each other. We know exactly where each other are. And there's one thing, this is 2-1. There's one thing that you need to do when this happens. You throw a lethal in that direction. So I see them. I pop a shot, don't hit anything, and as soon as I do that, I'm throwing my lethal. Now, they threw theirs, but they didn't pop it. They didn't cook it properly, and with those thermite grenade-looking things, I don't know exactly what they are. They're like napalm canisters. You can actually cook those like a grenade. So I held it for a couple clicks. I threw that. I end up getting an armor break with that, so I know, hey, as soon as you get it at the bare minimum, an armor break, then you need to make a play off of that, because the flag is coming down. We're already in overtime now in the gulag. I have the advantage. I need to make a play off of that, so I pushed up to this close wall, and I listened for a little bit. Listening, and I hear him right across from me. So boom, we are in perfect sight line of each other, but I have my pistols out and don't have my actual gun out, so I'm not able to actually hit him across from the heady, so I need to get a little bit closer here. And that's what we do. Reposition a little bit, hear him in the water because it's super, super, super loud in the water, and boom, we've won the gulag by not exerting too much pressure, by not giving up too much, by not letting them see my back ever. We play that heady. They're not there across. We watch for a little bit of info. We get that info. You throw your lethal. You either hit or you don't. If you don't hit, you got to play that a little bit differently, a little bit slower. You play that same heady. Where I ended up there on that little heady, let's see if I can find it. Where I ended up on this heady right here is where you would stay. If you didn't get an armor break on them, you would stay right here and you would take that 1v1 right across from each other. You would take that 1v1, and if all else comes to fail, you throw your smoke on that zip line, and if you think you can do it, you take that zip line up, or you bait it like you are going to take it. But this works, I promise, at every skill level. You throw that lethal, make sure you cook it properly, and that's the type of information you need to work off of when you're playing these headies. You can see in this one, they did the same thing as me, and I ended up taking a win just because I used my lethal a little bit better. So let's move on now to one of the different layouts of the gulag. Now keep in mind, it may be a different layout, but the strat is still the same. So you'll see here in this specific layout, you have the far left lane, you have kind of like the mid lane where you could enter that from either side, and then you have the far right lane. Now keep in mind, we're not really messing with the right lane too much because the left lane is much more to your advantage and much more intuitive to play. So we're spawning in here, and I know already exactly what I'm gonna do. As soon as you spawn in here, you wanna make for that left side, and then immediately you chow down the lane. If they don't peek you, then you need to work off of that information. But always chow every lane like there's going to be a person there, because you have nothing to lose if there's no one there. If there's no one there, then you're not dead, and if they are there, then you want to make sure that you're completely ready for it, because that's how you're going to get the kill. So we're waiting for this timer to count down. immediately, I'm chowing that far right lane, and as soon as I chow that lane, I'm getting my ADS ready. Boom. If there's someone there, we are fighting right then, right there. And I'm slowly, as I'm chowing though, walking my way up because I want to eventually make it to that cover on that left side. That's what I'm doing. Take a nice little slide, and what I've done right here is actually found my opponent in mid. My opponent wanted to take the same cover as mine, but he actually entered from mid, which you don't see very often, which is why I wanted to throw it into the video. So you're watching that far left lane. If there's no one there, you move your immediate focus to that middle lane, which there is a player on right now. That's where your second line of focus is. It's that far left lane, immediate middle lane, and then the far right lane if it comes down to it. However, in this clip specifically, they show up right in front of me, turn to a gunfight. They end up re-chowing, and so if you think that the player is very good or a player of your caliber, make sure that you use all the bullets in your clip and then reposition once you're done. Especially when you have 2 Gulag guns to work with, you want to make sure they're using both of those Gulag guns. And so the way that it worked out, I was able to get that kill, chowing him in mid, but there is a chance that you can see on the screen here, they peek this far right lane in mid, and it's the same thing. You watch your far left, you watch that mid, and then third case, you watch the far right, and that's anywhere that they could be. They can't be anywhere else. They couldn't have made it behind you in the time that it took you to get to mid. And so these are foolproof ways to guarantee a fair 1v1 gunfight or a 1v1 gunfight to your advantage if you're using your lethals properly. And that's all you could do in here. Obviously, you can't have a 100% Gulag win rate. I lose a bunch of mine, I win a bunch of mine, but you want to make sure that you are perfecting your craft. If you do the same thing every single game, you are working on your craft, you are going to get better, and you're gonna win more Gulags, and you're probably going to be playing against people who try to mix it up a little bit. They may not go left, and then they try to go left, and you're already beating them because you've seen it 100 times already. That is what makes you a better player. Getting those reps in, you will become much better than you are now. I can guarantee it. This marks the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching the entire thing, and it means a ton to me. If you do like this instructional type content, I love making it. If you would, please consider subscribing, as it helps me out a ton and makes me realize, hey, some people like this, I should keep doing it. If you do like the content again though today, make sure to drop a like or a comment. I really would appreciate it. And that's it.
He's huge for Bread. He has to win this in order to still stay alive.
Oh God, yeah, chat. He loses his.
Oh my God, Bread is disgusting. He has not